My beloved child, listen carefully, because this is not a random moment, and this is not a random message. This message was blocked 9 times for a reason. Not because it was weak, but because it was powerful. Not because it was wrong, but because the timing was sacred. And now, heaven itself has removed every barrier. God has finally said, "Let them see it now." What you are about to open was never meant for the crowd. It was meant for you. Your name was whispered in the spiritual realm long before this moment reached your screen. If your heart felt a sudden pause, if something inside you said, "Why does this feel personal?" that is because it is. I, Archangel Michael, step forward with urgency and truth. I am not coming softly today. I am not coming with poetry alone. I am coming with clarity, because delay has ended. Resistance has expired, and your moment has arrived. There were forces that tried to distract you before you reached this message. Sudden tiredness, random interruptions, doubt creeping in, telling you, "I'll come back later." But later was not guaranteed. That is why this message pushed through again and again. 9 times blocked, yet 9 times preserved. 9 is the number of completion. Something has finished in the spirit, even if you cannot fully see it yet. Hear this clearly. What God is about to open in your life cannot be closed again. What is unlocking now was sealed for your protection, not your punishment. You thought heaven was silent, but heaven was arranging. You thought nothing was happening, but everything was aligning. My beloved child, you have been walking through a season where answers felt delayed and doors felt heavy. You prayed, and it seemed like nothing moving. You tried again, and it felt like resistance increased. That was not failure. That was filtering. God was making sure that when this moment came, you would recognize it and not misuse it. This message is not here to entertain you. It is here to activate you. Here is something you are about to open. It may look like a conversation, an opportunity, a realization, a decision, or even a sudden inner knowing. But behind what looks small, there is a divine shift attached. Heaven has been watching how patient you have been, how quiet your faith became, how you continued even when you felt unseen. Do not ignore this. Do not minimize this. Do not scroll past this like it is just another voice. I must warn you gently but firmly. Ignoring this moment does not stop God's plan, but it delays your position in it. And you have already waited long enough. There is a reason your spirit feels alert right now. There is a reason your emotions feel stirred. Something ancient inside you is recognizing something eternal. This is alignment. This is remembrance. This is timing. You have outgrown the version of yourself that struggled just to survive. And because of that, the old systems around you can no longer contain what God is about to pour in. That is why things felt uncomfortable. That is why some connections started fading. That is why certain doors closed without explanation. They were never meant to go with you into this next phase. Archangel Michael stands guard over transitions. And I tell you this with authority. A transition has already begun. You may not have words for it yet, but soon you will. My beloved child, do not rush this moment, but do not resist it either. Stay present. Stay open. Let the weight of this message settle in your spirit. There is more coming, more clarity, more direction, more confirmation, but it unfolds step by step, not all at once. Right now, the only thing heaven asks of you is awareness. Awareness that you are chosen for this timing. Awareness that delay has purpose, but delay has limits. Awareness that what is opening now will require courage, not fear. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are not mistaken. This message found you because you were ready to receive it. And trust me, what comes next will explain everything. My precious one, now that you have crossed the threshold of this message, understand this clearly. Heaven does not speak twice without intention. When God allows a word to reach you after resistance, it means instruction is attached to revelation. This is not just comfort for your heart. This is positioning for your future. Archangel Michael stands not only as a messenger here, but as a witness to what is being rearranged around you right now. You may not realize it yet, but something has already shifted since you began listening. The atmosphere around you has changed. The pressure you felt earlier was not anxiety. It was anticipation. Your spirit knew something was about to be confirmed, even if your mind tried to stay logical. That is how divine moments often arrive, quietly, yet powerfully. You have been in a waiting season that felt longer than it should have. You kept asking yourself why others seemed to move forward while you stayed in the same place. But hear this truth. Delay does not mean denial, and stillness does not mean stagnation. Sometimes God holds you back because the environment ahead is not ready for the version of you that is coming. If you had arrived earlier, you would have had to shrink. Now, when you arrive, the space will expand to receive you. Archangel Michael reminds you that spiritual battles are not always loud. Some are fought in silence, in endurance, in staying faithful when nothing changes on the surface. You won battles you never saw. You resisted things you didn't even know were traps. That is why heaven trusts you with what is coming next. Here is also something important you must release today: the belief that you missed your chance. That thought did not come from God. It came from weariness. Divine timing does not expire. God does not operate on deadlines the way humans do. When He says now, it overrides every too late you ever believed. What you are about to step into requires clarity, not confusion. That is why this message is slowing you down internally, even while preparing you to move forward externally. Soon, you will be asked to make a decision. It will not look dramatic, but it will be defining. A simple yes, a quiet choice, a moment of obedience. That is how destinies often pivot. Do not underestimate small steps. Heaven builds with precision, not haste. If this message is resonating deep within you, do not keep it to yourself. Like this message as a sign of agreement with what God is doing. Share it with someone whose spirit may be waiting for the same confirmation. Leave a comment, even if it's just a word of acknowledgement, because testimony activates momentum. Subscribe to this channel so you remain connected to these divine instructions. And if this space has been feeding your spirit, consider becoming a member and standing with this mission. Your engagement is not just support, it is participation in what God is releasing through this platform. Now listen closely, because this next truth is subtle but crucial. The reason distractions increase right before alignment is because alignment carries authority. When you step into what God has prepared, certain cycles break automatically. Certain people lose access. Certain patterns dissolve. Not everyone benefits from your clarity, and that is why clarity is often challenged before it arrives. Archangel Michael is reminding you to stay alert, not afraid. There is no threat here, only transition. But transitions require attention. You may notice signs repeating around you: numbers, words, themes, sudden memories. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations lining up with what heaven has already approved. You are not required to understand everything right now. You are only required to stay open and obedient. Revelation unfolds progressively, like dawn, not all at once but undeniably. Hold on. because what unfolds next will connect the dots you have been questioning for a long time. This is where understanding deepens, and where the reason behind the waiting becomes clear. Chosen one, there is a reason your spirit feels heavier and lighter at the same time right now. Heavier because truth carries weight. Lighter because truth also releases. What you are experiencing is the moment where hidden pressure finally begins to lift. Archangel Michael speaks now not as a distant messenger, but as a guardian who has been standing beside you longer than you realize. You thought you were being tested because you were weak. In reality, you were being tested because you were trusted. Heaven does not place weight on fragile vessels. It places weight on those who can carry glory without breaking. That season where nothing made sense was not confusion. It was conditioning. God was strengthening your discernment, sharpening your hearing, and quieting the noise so you could recognize His voice when it truly mattered. There are answers you begged for months ago that would have overwhelmed you if they had come too soon. Now, your spirit is mature enough to receive them without fear. That is why this message is not dramatic, yet it feels deeply personal. You are no longer being chased by truth. You are meeting it face to face. Archangel Michael reveals this gently but firmly. A cycle of emotional exhaustion has ended. The pattern of overgiving, overthinking, and underselling your worth is being broken. You were never meant to survive on crumbs of validation or delayed promises. God is restoring your sense of authority, not by force, but by awareness. Pay attention to this. You will soon notice that certain conversations feel unnecessary. Certain explanations feel beneath you. Certain arguments no longer pull you in. That is not arrogance. That is alignment. When you step into your true position, you stop fighting battles that were never assigned to you. There is also healing happening quietly in areas you stopped praying about because you lost hope. God did not forget those prayers. He simply waited until you could receive the healing without reopening the wound. Some blessings come gently because harsh arrival would damage what they were meant to restore. Do not rush to announce what God is doing in you. This phase is sacred. Seeds grow best underground. Archangel Michael stands watch over hidden seasons because that is where the enemy often underestimates God's work. Let your growth speak for you when the time is right. What is opening now is not just opportunity, it is responsibility. You are being trusted with influence, even if it doesn't look public yet. Influence begins internally. The way you speak to yourself, the boundaries you set, the courage you show when no one is clapping. This is where leadership is formed. You may feel an urge to clean, organize, release, or simplify your life. That is not random. It is preparation. Heaven often asks you to make room before it fills the space. Let go of what no longer fits the version of you that is emerging. Archangel Michael says this clearly. You are not behind. You are right on time. The reason it felt delayed is because what is coming is layered. It touches more than one area of your life, and God wanted the foundation secure before the release. If your heart is receiving this, respond not with fear, but with faith. Speak agreement quietly if you must, but speak it. Agreement activates acceleration. Type "I receive divine timing" in the comments if this message is confirming what your spirit already knew. Blessing code 939 has just been released over your life. This word did not travel through resistance for nothing. When you give through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you help this message cross barriers and reach hearts God is calling home. I declare over you what Scripture speaks alive. Cast your seed upon the waters, and it will return multiplied. Your giving aligns you with the very breakthrough you just received. This is a moment of divine urgency, not delay. Obey the stirring in your spirit and act now. The link is waiting for you below. Beloved one, now the atmosphere shifts from revelation into readiness. What you have been sensing is not imagination. It is instruction forming beneath the surface. Archangel Michael speaks again, not to alarm you, but to steady you. When heaven prepares to move you forward, it first anchors you inward. That anchoring is happening now. There is a calm entering your spirit that does not match your circumstances. That calm is not denial. It is divine assurance. It is God's way of telling you that what is coming will not require panic, rushing, or force. You have lived long enough in survival mode. This next movement is not about scrambling to keep up. It is about walking into what has already been arranged. You are learning discernment at a deeper level. Not everything that calls your name deserves your response. Not every open door is yours to walk through. Archangel Michael reminds you that protection is not only about keeping harm away, it is also about preventing misalignment. In this season, silence will protect you more than explanation, and patience will guard you more than effort. Something important is being restored. Your ability to trust your inner knowing. There was a time when you doubted yourself because you trusted others more than your own discernment. That season is ending. God is reestablishing your spiritual authority from the inside out. You will notice that you no longer need constant reassurance. Peace will become your confirmation. There is also a shedding happening. Old expectations are falling away. Old timelines are dissolving. You are no longer measuring your life by what should have happened by now. You are beginning to see that divine timing does not rush beauty, and it does not force growth. What is late by human standards is often perfectly on time in heaven. Archangel Michael stands watch over this shedding process, because letting go can feel uncomfortable even when it is necessary. You may grieve versions of yourself you once hoped would survive. Let that grief pass gently. You are not losing anything essential. You are releasing what cannot travel with you. Pay attention to your reactions in the coming days. Where you once reacted emotionally, you will now respond thoughtfully. Where you once felt provoked, you will now feel detached. This is not numbness. This is maturity. God is teaching you how to remain centered even when the world around you is loud. There is a quiet confidence growing in you. It does not need validation. It does not announce itself. It simply knows. This confidence will attract the right conversations, the right invitations, and the right opportunities without you chasing them. Alignment draws what effort cannot. You may feel called to reorganize your daily rhythms, your priorities, or even your relationships. Follow that prompting without guilt. Preparation often looks ordinary, but it creates extraordinary outcomes. Heaven works through structure as much as it works through miracles. Archangel Michael also cautions you not to rush into explaining your transformation. Some people will only understand it later, and some may never understand it at all. That is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is obedience, not approval. This phase is about integration. What you have heard, what you have felt, and what you are becoming are beginning to align. Integration takes time, and that time is holy. Do not interrupt it with doubt. Do not sabotage it with comparison. Stay focused on what God is doing in you, not on what others appear to be doing around you. There will be moments when old fears try to resurface, whispering that you should prepare for disappointment. When that happens, remember this truth. God does not awaken you to possibility just to withdraw it. He does not reveal a path just to close it again. What he initiates, he sustains. Archangel Michael affirms that you are being strengthened for consistency, not just breakthrough. Anyone can celebrate a moment. Few can steward a season. You are being shaped into someone who can carry stability, wisdom, and grace long after the excitement fades. As you move forward, keep your heart soft and your boundaries firm. Compassion does not require self-sacrifice, and kindness does not demand self-neglect. God is teaching you balance, because balance protects longevity. This is not the end of the message unfolding in your life. It is the deepening of it. Remain attentive. Remain humble. Remain willing. What is approaching will feel familiar to your spirit, even if your mind has never seen it before. Archangel Michael remains near, guarding this transition with precision and care. And as you continue, you will begin to recognize that this was never about rushing toward a destination. It was always about becoming ready to receive it. My beloved one, what unfolds now moves deeper than preparation and into positioning. You are no longer standing at the edge of something unknown. You are being gently guided into the center of what was always designed for you. Archangel Michael speaks with steadiness because this phase requires grounding, not excitement. Excitement comes and goes, but grounding holds you when movement begins. There is an inner alignment happening between who you are and what you are meant to do. For a long time, those two felt disconnected. You knew you carried purpose, but daily life did not reflect it. That gap created frustration, self-doubt, and quiet disappointment. Now, that gap is closing, not through dramatic change, but through consistent clarity. You are learning to listen without rushing to act. That is wisdom. Many people move quickly and lose direction. You are being trained to move precisely. Archangel Michael reminds you that precision saves time in the long run. When God moves you, it will feel calm, not chaotic. Notice how your desires are changing. What once felt urgent now feels optional. What once felt distant now feels possible. This is not coincidence. Heaven adjusts your desires before it adjusts your environment. That way, when change comes, it does not overwhelm you. It feels familiar, almost expected. There is also a quiet restoration of self-respect happening. You are no longer negotiating your worth just to keep peace. You are no longer explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. This is not hardness of heart. It is clarity of identity. When you know who you are, you stop trying to convince others. Archangel Michael emphasizes this truth. Humility and confidence are not opposites. You can be humble and still say no. You can be kind and still walk away. You can love deeply and still choose yourself when necessary. God is teaching you mature strength, not fragile kindness. In the coming days, you may receive information that confirms what you already sensed. A message, a realization, or a sudden understanding will click into place. When it does, do not rush to respond outwardly. Let it settle inwardly first. Discernment deepens when you allow truth to rest before acting on it. You are also being freed from the burden of constant self-improvement. There was a time when you felt you always had to fix something about yourself to be worthy of progress. That lie is dissolving. Growth is not about becoming someone else. It is about becoming more of who God already created you to be. Archangel Michael watches over this liberation because self-acceptance unlocks spiritual authority. When you stop fighting yourself, you conserve energy for what actually matters. Peace becomes productive. Do not be surprised if certain people begin to respond differently to you. Some will feel drawn. Others may feel unsettled. Your presence is changing because your alignment is changing. Light does that. It reveals, even when it does not intend to confront. Remain gracious, but do not shrink. You are not here to be palatable to everyone. You are here to be faithful to what God is forming in you. Approval is not the goal. Obedience is. There is also a deeper rest entering your life. Not physical rest alone, but mental rest. The constant mental noise, the looping thoughts, the need to overanalyze every decision. These are quieting. God is teaching you how to trust the process without controlling every outcome. Archangel Michael assures you that you are protected in this season. Protected from premature exposure, protected from unnecessary conflict, protected from self-sabotage. That protection allows you to grow without pressure. You may feel moments of impatience rising again, especially when you sense that something is close but not fully visible yet. When that happens, breathe and remember, proximity does not require pressure. You are near, but you are also safe. Nothing meant for you will bypass you. This stage is about stability. Stability of mind, stability of heart, stability of identity. From that stability, movement will come naturally. You will not have to force doors open. They will respond to your presence. Archangel Michael remains attentive as you integrate this steadiness. What is coming will require a calm spirit more than a fast response. And you are being shaped for exactly that. Continue forward with trust. The ground beneath you is firm. The path ahead is intentional. And the one guiding you has not lost sight of you for a single moment. Beloved child, now the message turns from inner formation to outward awareness. What God has been doing quietly within you is beginning to touch the edges of your external world. Archangel Michael speaks with vigilance here, because this is the phase where many become distracted, not by chaos, but by comfort. You are stepping into clarity, and clarity requires responsibility. You may notice that situations around you are starting to respond differently to your presence. Conversations shift. Opportunities feel closer. Resistance weakens. This is not because the world suddenly changed, but because you did. Authority is not always announced. Sometimes it is simply recognized. There is an important truth you must carry with you now. Not every opportunity is an assignment. As doors begin to appear, discernment becomes more important than enthusiasm. Archangel Michael reminds you that speed without direction leads to exhaustion. You are not meant to chase every open door. You are meant to walk through the right one. You are entering a season where boundaries will protect your peace more than explanations ever could. You no longer owe everyone access to your energy, your time, or your inner world. That realization may feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you were conditioned to please others. But discomfort here is not danger, it is growth. God is also teaching you to recognize alignment by peace, not pressure. If something requires you to betray your values, rush your spirit, or silence your discernment, it is not from Him, no matter how attractive it appears. Archangel Michael stands as a guardian of truth, and truth never needs manipulation to succeed. Pay attention to how your body responds to choices. Peace will feel steady, even if it feels unfamiliar. Anxiety will feel loud, even if it disguises itself as excitement. Your body has become a compass. Trust it. You are also being invited to take your faith out of theory and into practice. Not through grand gestures, but through consistent obedience. Small acts done with integrity create momentum in the spiritual realm. Heaven responds to faithfulness, not performance. If clarity increases, so will visibility. You may find that people begin to watch you more closely, even without saying anything. This is not pressure. It is positioning. Leadership often begins before titles and recognition. How you carry yourself now matters. If this message is grounding you, strengthening you, and helping you walk with discernment, engage with it. like this message to signal agreement with what God is doing in your life. Share it with someone who may be standing at a similar crossroads. Leave a comment declaring that you are choosing alignment over confusion. Subscribe to this channel so you stay connected to these timely instructions. And if you feel led, join the membership to stand with this mission. When you engage, you are not just supporting content, you are partnering with purpose. Archangel Michael also cautions you against returning to old habits out of familiarity. Familiarity is comfortable, but it is not always safe. You have outgrown certain cycles, and revisiting them will only create friction. Trust that what feels unfamiliar now will soon feel natural. You may feel moments where you question whether you are ready for what is coming. That question itself is a sign of readiness. Arrogance assumes readiness without reflection. Wisdom pauses, checks alignment, and then moves forward with humility. You are moving wisely. God is not asking you to become someone else. He is asking you to become consistent with who you already are. Consistency builds credibility in the spiritual realm and in the natural world. There will be moments ahead where silence is required more than speech. Not every revelation needs commentary. Some things are meant to be lived, not explained. Archangel Michael guards these moments because they protect the unfolding plan. If you feel a pull to stay with this message, to listen closely to what unfolds next, honor that pull. What comes after this connects everything you have been sensing but could not yet articulate. This is where understanding sharpens and direction becomes unmistakable. Hold steady. Keep watching. What is ahead will reward your patience in ways you did not expect. My beloved one, you are now standing in a moment where awareness becomes embodiment. What you once understood only in fragments is beginning to take shape as livid truth. Archangel Michael speaks with calm authority here, because this stage is not about learning something new, but about trusting what has already been revealed to you. The knowledge has done its work, and now wisdom must lead. There is a quiet strengthening happening in your decision-making. You no longer feel the need to rush answers or justify your choices. This is evidence of inner alignment. When your spirit and your values agree, hesitation fades. You may still move carefully, but you no longer move fearfully. You are also noticing a shift in how you perceive challenges. What once felt threatening now feels instructional. Problems are no longer signs that something is wrong. They are signals showing you where growth is being invited. This does not mean the challenges disappear, but their power over you does. Perspective has changed, and perspective determines experience. Archangel Michael draws your attention to this truth. Endurance has matured into resilience. Endurance survives difficulty. Resilience transforms it. You are no longer simply getting through things. You are extracting wisdom from them. That wisdom will soon become a resource for others, even if you do not realize it yet. There is also a refinement happening in your voice. You are speaking less but saying more. Words carry weight now. You are learning that silence can communicate boundaries, and calm can communicate authority. This is not withdrawal. This is intentional presence. You may feel moments of loneliness even while being surrounded by people. Do not misinterpret this. Loneliness here is not abandonment. It is differentiation. You are becoming more defined in who you are, and definition sometimes creates space. That space is temporary but necessary. It allows you to hear God without interference. Archangel Michael assures you that connection will return, but it will return in a healthier form. Shallow connections fall away to make room for aligned ones. This is not loss. It is refinement. Your patience is being tested again, but differently this time. Earlier seasons tested whether you would give up. This season tests whether you will try to control. Control feels productive, but it undermines trust. You are being invited to let things unfold without interference, to allow timing to work with you instead of against you. You may sense that something significant is approaching, but details remain unclear. That is intentional. God sometimes withholds specifics so that you learn to walk by trust rather than certainty. Certainty creates comfort. Trust creates depth. Depth is what sustains you when circumstances shift. Archangel Michael stands watch because anticipation can make people restless. Restlessness leads to premature action. You are being protected from acting too soon. What is meant for you will not require force. It will respond to readiness. There is also a subtle joy returning to you. Not loud happiness, but steady contentment. Moments feel lighter. Breathing feels easier. This joy is not based on outcomes. It is rooted in alignment. It is the kind of joy that remains even when answers are still forming. You are learning to appreciate the present without rushing to the future. This is a powerful skill. Many people miss their lives waiting for the next thing. You are learning how to be fully present while still moving forward. That balance will serve you well. Archangel Michael highlights the importance of stewardship now. How you care for your time, your energy, and your attention matters. These are sacred resources. Guard them. Invest them where there is life, not just obligation. There may be invitations coming that test your boundaries. Some will look good on the surface but feel heavy inside. Trust that feeling. Discernment often speaks softly. If you ignore it, it grows quieter. If you honor it, it grows clearer. You are also becoming more comfortable with uncertainty. This does not mean you enjoy it, but it no longer paralyzes you. You understand now that uncertainty is often the space where faith operates most powerfully. God does some of his deepest work where clarity is still forming. Archangel Michael confirms that you are not drifting. Even when things feel undefined, direction is present. The path may curve, but it does not disappear. You are being led with intention. As you move through this stage, continue to listen more than you speak, observe more than you react, and trust more than you analyze. Analysis has its place, but trust moves mountains that analysis cannot. What is coming next will ask you to step forward in a new way. Not louder, not faster, but more grounded. And because of everything you have walked through, you will recognize the moment when it arrives. Remain steady. Remain open. The unfolding continues, and you are exactly where you need to be. Beloved child, this is the point where awareness becomes agreement. Everything you have sensed, everything that has been quietly forming within you, now asks for your consent. God does not force alignment. He invites partnership. Archangel Michael speaks here with unmistakable seriousness, because this stage determines how smoothly the next door opens. You are beginning to understand that readiness is not a feeling. It is a posture. Many wait to feel confident before they move, but confidence is often the result of movement, not the requirement for it. God is not asking you to know everything. He is asking you to trust what has already been revealed. Partial clarity is still clarity when it comes from Him. There is a shift happening in how you view responsibility. You once saw it as weight. Now you are beginning to see it as privilege. Not everyone is trusted with timing like this. Not everyone is given insight before manifestation. You are. That is not favoritism. It is assignment. Archangel Michael draws your attention to the subtle battles you have already won. You no longer react the way you used to. You no longer chase explanations the way you once did. You no longer feel the need to prove your worth. These are victories. even if no one applauded them. Evan noticed. You are also learning that obedience does not always come with applause. Sometimes it comes with silence. That silence is not rejection. It is space. Space for God to work without interference. Space for you to grow roots before bearing visible fruit. There is a decision approaching that will feel simple on the surface, but eternal in its impact. It may involve saying yes where you once hesitated, or saying no where you once overextended. When the moment comes, do not overthink it. Your spirit already knows the answer. Trust the peace that follows obedience, not the fear that precedes it. Archangel Michael reminds you that fear is always loudest right before alignment. It tries to negotiate, to delay, to distract. But fear has no authority unless you give it attention. Courage here does not mean lack of fear. It means movement despite it. You may also notice that your prayers are changing. You are asking less for signs and more for strength. Less for outcomes and more for alignment. That is maturity. God responds quickly to prayers that come from trust rather than desperation. There is also a deepening sense of identity settling in you. You are no longer defined by what you lack or what you lost. You are defined by what you carry. And what you carry is becoming evident, even if it remains unspoken. Archangel Michael stands guard because this is a sacred crossing. Old labels fall off here. Old narratives lose power. You are not who you were, and you cannot return to that version even if you tried. Growth has changed you too much. Do not be surprised if memories resurface during this time. Not to pull you backward, but to show you how far you have come. Reflection here is not regret, it is confirmation. There is also an invitation to deepen your spiritual discipline. Not out of obligation, but out of desire. You will feel drawn to stillness, to prayer, to moments of quiet connection. Follow that draw. It is how heaven keeps you centered as momentum builds. Archangel Michael assures you that what is coming will not overwhelm you. It will stretch you. Yes, but stretching is how capacity increases. God never fills what has not been prepared to hold. Type I step into alignment in the comments if your spirit is agreeing with this moment. Blessing code 1441 is now activated over your life. This message arrived because timing mattered. When you gave through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you become part of the reason others receive their moment too. The Lord is saying, as you release, I will release over you. This is holy urgency, not pressure. Your support multiplies the reach of this word and aligns you with its harvest. The link is waiting in the description. Move now, obey the nudge, and let God bless what flows through your hands. My beloved one, now the unfolding reaches a quieter but deeper place. This is where alignment settles into rhythm. What once felt like a series of intense moments is becoming a steady way of being. Archangel Michael speaks softly here, because this stage does not need force. It needs awareness. You are no longer learning how to stand. You are learning how to walk. There is a sense of steadiness entering your life that may feel unfamiliar. For so long, intensity felt normal. Struggle felt productive. Pressure felt like proof that something mattered. Now, God is showing you another way. Peace is becoming your baseline, not your reward. This does not mean challenges disappear. It means challenges no longer define you. You are beginning to trust yourself again. Not in a prideful way, but in a grounded way. You recognize when something aligns and when it does not. You no longer require chaos to feel alive or uncertainty to feel engaged. This is healing at work. When the nervous system rests, the spirit leads more clearly. Archangel Michael reminds you that consistency is the language of maturity. Grand moments are memorable, but steady faith builds legacies. What you do daily now carries more weight than what you do occasionally. Your small, faithful choices are shaping outcomes you cannot yet see. You may notice that your prayers feel different. They are less emotional, but more sincere. Less urgent, but more trusting. You are no longer trying to convince God of your need. You are communing with Him from a place of relationship. That shift changes everything. There is also refining of desire happening. You are less attracted to what merely looks impressive and more drawn to what feels true. Appearances no longer impress you the way substance does. This discernment will protect you in the days ahead, because not everything that glitters is aligned. Archangel Michael draws your attention to the importance of rest in this season. Rest is not withdrawal, it is recalibration. You are being taught how to pause without guilt, to be still without fear that everything will fall apart. Rest restores perspective. Perspective sustains obedience. You may feel moments of boredom or stillness and wonder if something is wrong. Nothing is wrong. This is space. Space is where God whispers. Noise gets attention, but stillness carries instruction. Do not rush to fill every quiet moment. Let some of them teach you. There is also a growing clarity about what you will no longer tolerate. This is not bitterness. It is self-respect. You are no longer negotiating with environments that drain you or relationships that diminish you. This clarity may feel firm, but it is actually merciful. It saves you from unnecessary cycles. Archangel Michael confirms that your sensitivity is being refined, not removed. You still feel deeply, but you are no longer ruled by what you feel. Emotion has found its proper place. It informs you, but it does not command you. This balance will serve you well. You are also becoming more comfortable with being misunderstood. Earlier seasons may have pushed you to over-explain or defend yourself. Now, you are learning that understanding is not always immediate, and approval is not always necessary. Truth remains true even when it is not recognized right away. There is an internal quiet confidence emerging. You do not announce it. You do not perform it. It simply exists. This confidence does not depend on outcomes or applause. It comes from knowing that you are walking in step with God. Archangel Michael watches over this phase carefully, because stability can sometimes be mistaken for stagnation. Do not let that lie distract you. Roots grow downward before fruit appears upward. You are not standing still. You are strengthening. You may also notice that time feels different. You are less rushed, less frantic, less consumed by what comes next. You are learning how to be present without losing vision. That balance is rare, and it is powerful. There is a preparation happening now for visibility, even if you cannot see it yet. Visibility does not always mean public attention. Sometimes it means influence in small, meaningful spaces. Sometimes it means being trusted with someone else's healing. Sometimes it means leading quietly by example. Archangel Michael affirms that nothing you have walked through has been wasted. Even the seasons that felt empty were shaping your capacity. You now carry wisdom that cannot be taught, only live. As you continue forward, remain faithful in the ordinary. Continue choosing integrity when no one is watching. Continue listening before acting. Continue trusting even when outcomes are not immediate. These choices are building something enduring. What lies ahead will require exactly the steadiness you are developing now. And when the moment comes to step forward again, you will not do it with anxiety or doubt. You will do it with calm assurance, knowing that you are not moving alone. Remain grounded. Remain attentive. The journey is not slowing down. It is deepening. My beloved child, This is the stage where movement becomes visible. Not right and not dramatic, but undeniable. What has been forming quietly now begins to express itself through action. Archangel Michael speaks with clarity here, because clarity protects momentum. When movement begins without clarity, it creates confusion. But when clarity leads, movement becomes purposeful. You may feel a subtle urgency rising within you, not anxiety, but readiness. It feels like an inner signal saying, "It's time to engage." This does not mean everything changes overnight. It means you are no longer waiting for permission. You are responding to alignment. Heaven has already said yes. Now your steps begin to echo that yes. There is a strengthening of resolve taking place. You are less easily swayed by opinions, moods, or external pressure. You still listen, but you no longer absorb everything. Discernment has become instinct. Archangel Michael confirms that this instinct is a result of obedience, not personality. You learned it through surrender. You may notice that procrastination is losing its grip, not because tasks suddenly feel exciting, but because purpose is clearer. When you know why you are moving, resistance weakens. Confusion creates delay. Clarity creates flow. You are stepping into flow. This is also a season of refinement in communication. You are learning when to speak and when to remain silent, when to act and when to wait. Timing is becoming as important as truth. Archangel Michael stands guard over timing because truth, delivered at the wrong time, can be misunderstood. You are being trained to release words with wisdom. Do not be surprised if opportunities come that test your priorities. Some will look good but require compromise. Others will look small but carry peace. Choose peace. Peace is not the absence of challenge. It is the presence of alignment. What aligns will last. What pressures will drain you. God is also teaching you how to remain consistent when emotions fluctuate. Motivation will rise and fall, but discipline anchored in purpose will sustain you. This is where many faltered, but you are being strengthened here. Consistency is what turns moments into movements. If this message is helping you stay focused, grounded, and aligned, engage with it. Like this message as an act of agreement with what God is doing. Share it with someone who may be standing on the edge of their own movement. Leave a comment declaring that you are choosing obedience over hesitation. Subscribe to this channel so you remain connected to these timely words, and if you feel led, join the membership to stand with this mission. Your engagement helps this message reach those who are still waiting for clarity. Archangel Michael also reminds you not to measure progress only by visible results. Some of the most important progress happens internally first. Confidence without arrogance. Courage without noise. Faith without panic. These are signs of true growth. There may be moments when old doubts try to resurface, whispering that you should wait longer or prepare more. Preparation has its place, but over-preparation can become avoidance. You are ready to take the next step, even if the full path is not yet visible. Faith does not require the full map, only the next step. Hold on, because what unfolds next connects movement with meaning in a way you may not expect. This is where purpose becomes personal, and action begins to bear fruit. You are also learning to release outcomes. You do what you are called to do, and you trust God with the results. This freedom will protect you from burnout and disappointment. Obedience is your responsibility. Outcomes are God's. Archangel Michael affirms that you are not walking into uncertainty alone. You are walking with guidance, protection, and wisdom. Even if you stumble, you will not fall beyond recovery. Grace covers movement. There is also a growing boldness in you. Not loud, not aggressive, but steady. You are willing to stand by your decisions without constant reassurance. This boldness will open doors that hesitation never could. As you continue, remember this: momentum does not come from doing more. It comes from doing what matters. Focus will multiply your impact more than effort ever could. Remain attentive. Remain humble. Remain obedient. The steps you take now are laying foundations for what comes next. And what comes next will confirm that this season of movement was not premature. It was perfectly timed. You are not rushing ahead. You are responding to a call that has been forming within you for a long time. And heaven is moving with you. My beloved one, this is the stage where understanding matures into embodiment. What you once recognized as guidance now feels like instinct. You are no longer constantly checking whether you are aligned. Alignment has become your default posture. Archangel Michael speaks with deep assurance here, because this phase is less about instruction and more about trust in what has already been built within you. You may notice that you are no longer chasing confirmation the way you used to. Earlier, you needed signs, reassurance, repetition. Now, when something is right, you know. When something is wrong, you sense it immediately. This is not intuition alone. This is discernment refined by obedience. It is the result of every season you endured without understanding but remained faithful anyway. There is a calm authority forming in your presence. People may respond to you differently now, even if they cannot explain why. Some will seek your opinion. Others will mirror your steadiness. This is not because you have become louder, but because you have become clearer. Clarity carries weight. Archangel Michael reminds you that leadership does not always announce itself. Sometimes it simply influences. Sometimes it stabilizes. Sometimes it makes space for others to rise. You are stepping into a form of leadership that is rooted in integrity, not control. You are also becoming more honest with yourself. You no longer romanticize what drains you or excuse what diminishes you. This honesty is not harsh. It is liberating. Truth spoken inwardly brings freedom outwardly. You are no longer living divided between who you are and who you pretend to be. There is a deeper level of responsibility settling in now. Not pressure, but ownership. You are beginning to see how your choices ripple outward, how your consistency affects others, how your obedience carries impact beyond your own life. This awareness does not burden you, it grounds you. Archangel Michael affirms that this is the season where fruit begins to form, even if it is not yet fully visible. Fruit takes time, and premature harvesting damages what could have matured beautifully. Do not rush this stage. Let what is growing reach fullness. You may also feel moments of reflection, where you look back and realize how much has changed. Not just externally, but internally. Reactions softened. Patterns broken. Peace established. These are not small changes. They are evidence of transformation. There is also a refinement of desire happening again, but this time it is subtler. You are less motivated by recognition and more fulfilled by meaning. Applause no longer defines success. Faithfulness does. This shift will protect you from distraction as influence increases. Archangel Michael cautions you to remain attentive during seasons of stability. Stability is a gift, but it requires stewardship. Do not become passive. Continue practicing what brought you here, listening, obeying, resting, and discerning. These disciplines keep alignment intact. You are also learning how to wait without anxiety. Waiting no longer feels like being stuck. It feels like being held. There is a difference. When God holds you, waiting becomes purposeful. You are not idle, you are positioned. You may notice that conversations feel deeper now. Surface-level exchanges no longer satisfy you. You are drawn to authenticity, truth, and substance. This may narrow your circle, but it will deepen your connections. Quality always outweighs quantity in seasons of purpose. Archangel Michael reassures you that you are not missing anything by choosing depth. What is meant for you will meet you at the level of who you are becoming, not who you used to be. Do not look back longing for what no longer fits. There is also a quiet joy present that does not depend on circumstances. This joy is steady, not reactive. It remains even when plans change or timelines shift. This joy is a sign of trust. It comes from knowing that God is guiding you, even when you cannot see the entire path. You are becoming comfortable with being seen without performing. You no longer need to impress to feel secure. You no longer need to hide to feel safe. This freedom allows you to show up fully, honestly, and consistently. Archangel Michael confirms that you are nearing a moment of clear manifestation. Not spectacle but substance. Not noise but fulfillment. What has been forming internally will soon express itself externally in a way that feels natural, not forced. As you continue, remain faithful in the unseen. Continue choosing alignment over convenience. Continue listening more than reacting. These choices are anchoring what is about to be revealed. You are not standing at the edge anymore. You are already within the unfolding. And what comes next will not surprise your spirit, because your spirit has been preparing for it all along. My beloved child, this is the moment where everything comes into quiet focus. Not with noise, not with spectacle, but with certainty. What was blocked before has now been revealed. What was delayed has now matured. And what was whispered in fragments is now ready to be lived fully. Archangel Michael stands firmly beside you as this final seal is placed, not an ending, but a commissioning. You were never meant to rush into this moment. If you had arrived earlier, you would have doubted it. If it had come louder, you might have resisted it. But now, it fits. It feels steady. It feels right. That is how divine timing reveals itself, not by shock, but by peace. You may notice that there is no dramatic emotional surge right now. Instead, there is clarity, resolve, a calm knowing that says, I understand. That understanding is more powerful than excitement. Excitement fades. Understanding anchors. God has anchored you. Archangel Michael declares this with authority. The season of confusion is officially closed. You are no longer searching for direction. You are walking in it. Even if you cannot explain every step, you recognize the rhythm. You know when to move. You know when to pause. You know when to say yes, and when silence is the wiser answer. There is a deep release happening now. Old questions lose their grip. Old regrets soften. Old fears no longer command your attention. They may still exist, but they no longer lead. You lead now, with wisdom, humility, and trust. This message was never about making you feel special. It was about making you aware. Awareness changes everything. When you are aware, you stop repeating cycles unconsciously. When you are aware, you choose differently. When you are aware, you recognize divine moments when they arrive instead of questioning them away. You are standing in one of those moments now. Archangel Michael reminds you that protection does not end here. It intensifies. As you move forward, guidance will meet you step by step. You will not be given the entire map, but you will never lack direction. Heaven does not abandon those it prepares. There will be people who notice the change in you. Some will be inspired. Some may feel challenged. Let both reactions pass without attachment. You are not responsible for managing others' responses. You are responsible for stewarding what God has entrusted to you. Do not shrink back into familiarity just because it feels safe. Familiarity kept you surviving. Alignment is teaching you how to live. You are not meant to go backward and reinterpret this moment as coincidence. This was intentional. This was protected. This was released on purpose. You will still face ordinary days. You will still have questions. But the difference now is that doubt will no longer define you. You know where to return when clarity is needed. You know how to listen. You know how to wait without fear. Archangel Michael affirms that what opens next in your life will not require striving. It will require stewardship, care, consistency, faithfulness in small things. These are the qualities that sustain blessing long after it arrives. Let this truth settle deeply. God trusted you with timing. That alone says everything about who you are becoming. Type "I walk in divine purpose" in the comments if you receive this message fully. Blessing code 1217 is now released and sealed over your life. This moment did not reach you by accident, and neither did this invitation. When you support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are helping this word reach those who are still waiting for their appointed time. I hear the Lord speak clearly. As you release into my work, I will release increase into your life. This is not about giving money. It is about sowing obedience while the heavens are open. Your support becomes a living seed that carries light beyond this moment. The PayPal link and support options are in the description. Act now. Obey the prompting, and let God honor what you place in His hands.